What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my Week 4 NFL picks. One quick note, I am in the process of getting that Week 3 studs and duds video up. My goal is to get that up before Thursday Night Football kicks off tonight. I think I can get there, but there is a chance we don't get that till tomorrow morning. So let's get right into it here. We're going to review how Week 3 went. This was our Patreon exclusive week. A reminder, every 3 weeks, my picks will be exclusive to my MVP level Patreon supporters. But Week 3 was definitely a turnaround week. We started off pretty slow. It's been a pretty crazy season for the NFL so far. So we ended up going 8-8 last week, which is still not as good as I want to be every week, but good to at least go 500, which is better than we've been doing. And then the underdog picks did end up going just 1-3. The Colts, though, almost pulled it out. That was a pretty big 7-point underdog take, and they were right there at the end. And needless to say, that Jets game, I did not anticipate Baker Mayfield coming in and leading an epic comeback. But most importantly, went with just one lock last week, and that was the Seattle-Dallas game. That was really the only game I actually put money on, the only game I showed any confidence in last week. So while the overall picks were off, the money was good last week. So let's get into Week 4 here, starting with this Thursday Night Football game. This has got to be one of the best Thursday night games I can remember in a while. We got Minnesota at LA. A lot of injuries on both sides of the ball tonight. Both corners for the Rams are out. Everson Griffin is out. I believe Dalvin Cook is highly questionable right now. Minnesota coming off that crazy game against Buffalo. And the Rams are just a buzzsaw right now. I am going to take the Rams in this one. They're 7-point favorites. I think that might be a little steep, but you know, until they prove that they can't beat everyone by double digits right now, I'm really not going to put anything against them right now. So I'm taking the Rams. If Minnesota responded in a big way and actually won this game, I would not be surprised at all. I do think they're going to have to get to Jared Goff, and without Everson Griffin, that could prove to be problematic. So I'm excited for this game. I do think whatever the end result is, these two teams are different than the next time if they should meet, say in the playoffs, just because of those injuries. But anyway, let's move on. Buffalo at Green Bay. Buffalo, massive underdogs again this week, 10 points. I am going to take Green Bay. Their division opponent did them a favor this week in revealing that, you know, the Bills, yeah, they probably shouldn't be 17-point underdogs. They're still an NFL caliber football team. But I did think coming home, Green Bay can take care of business this week. Miami at New England. Now, I actually guessed 3.5 points for this spread, and it is actually a 7-point spread for New England to be favored. So as much as people say I hate Miami, it actually would seem I'm higher on this team than Vegas, or maybe I'm just higher on New England. But this is a huge game for Miami, but unfortunately for them, this is also a huge game for New England, who doesn't want to fall to 1-3 and let their division rival go 4-0. And become a serious threat to take that division from them. I think New England makes some adjustments on defense to address how slow they've been in the second level of that defense, those linebackers. So I do think this is going to be a close game, but I'm not ready to bet against New England quite yet. If Miami covered that 7-point spread, though, I would not be surprised at all if this turned into a really competitive match. Detroit at Dallas. This is going to be my first upset of the week. I actually thought Detroit would be favored in this game based on what we've seen from Dallas, really just this season. I get it, they're much better at home, but I just don't trust that offense. I think Matthew Stafford's going to be able to do enough against Dallas's defense. I expect this to be a really tight game in the end, but I like Detroit in the fourth quarter with Matthew Stafford in that situation. So I'm going to take Detroit as an upset pick this week. Houston at Indy. I really like Indianapolis this week. Vegas is just giving them a 1.5, which is basically saying that they actually think Houston is a better team than the Colts because you usually give the home team 2.5 or 3 points. So I disagree. I think the Colts are a better team. I actually like their defense better than Houston's defense right now. J.J. Watt really the only one playing at a high level for Houston. And the Texans offense is just really, really bad right now. Going on the road here, a good, underrated Indianapolis front against a bad Houston offensive line. So I'm going to take the Colts in this one. And then Tampa Bay at Chicago. I think Khalil Mack and this defense is going to be too much for Fitzmagic to handle. I do think there's a good chance this is the last game of Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then we see Jameis in Week 5. Maybe they continue to prove me wrong. And then Philly at Tennessee. I'm actually going to go with the upset here and take Tennessee. Philly is just kind of slowly gaining some momentum, but I still don't think they're all the way back yet. This is not an easy game. I think Tennessee matches up pretty well. They've got a good offensive line against a good Philly front. Mariota should be healthy this week. I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game, but I do like Tennessee in this game. Cincy at Atlanta. I went back and forth on this one. Atlanta's offense is just rolling right now, especially getting Calvin Ridley involved now. AJ Green's going to be beat up in this one. It basically just came down to, I don't know if Cincy has the firepower to keep up with Atlanta, who at home right now is basically scoring at will. If this were in Cincinnati, I'd probably think a lot differently. The Jets at Jacksonville, I got to take the Jags. Just don't think the Jets have enough playmakers to do anything really against this Jacksonville defense. I think the offense for Jacksonville can bounce back at least a little bit from what they were last week. I'd expect a classic low-scoring win for Jacksonville. If you wanted to take the 7.5 points for the Jets, you know, Jacksonville doesn't seem to be like a team that's going to beat a lot of teams by 2 scores just because of that offense. So I don't hate the Jets as 7.5 point underdogs in this one, but I definitely just don't see the Jets pulling this out in the end. Seahawks at Arizona. I'm going to take Seattle as road favorites in this one. Arizona's just a train wreck right now. I think they're the worst team in football. I think Russell Wilson, whatever happens, is going to find a way to win this game. Cleveland at Oakland. I think Oakland gets its first win of the season this year at home as favorites against the Browns. Really excited to see Baker Mayfield in this one, getting his first NFL start. We get to see how he looks on the road, but it is a very favorable matchup. So despite a combined 1 win between these two teams, I'm really looking forward to watching this one. But I'm just not quite ready to pick Cleveland to win a road game in the NFL yet. And then the Saints at the Giants. Give me the Saints. Eli looked really good last week, but I just don't think they're going to have the firepower to keep up with New Orleans, who's just rolling offensively right now. And then the 49ers at the Chargers. Gotta go with the Chargers. Just don't think the 49ers are any good without Jimmy G. They are like 10.5 point favorites. The Chargers will probably find some way to screw this up in the fourth quarter and let the 49ers have a backdoor cover and win like 28-18 or something. The Chargers are definitely the most dangerous team to bet on in Vegas right now. Just you never know when they're going to fumble, let a punt get blocked, miss a field goal. Their lack of attention to the details is just remarkable, but they are a much better team than the 49ers. Then we got Baltimore at Pittsburgh, the Sunday night game. This is going to be a great game, and I'm actually going to take Baltimore in this one. Pittsburgh just has not impressed me this year. Baltimore always plays Pittsburgh tough. I think they can turn the ball over, which Pittsburgh's been doing at will this year. I think they'll be able to score against this atrocious Pittsburgh defense. I think this actually turns into a decently high-scoring game, something like 28-25 or something. But I like Baltimore in this game as 3.5 point underdogs. So that'll be a good one. And then Kansas City at Denver. Wrapping up a good week of football here on Monday night. Excited to see how Patrick Mahomes can do on the road against a really good defense, at least against a really good pass rush. I do think the Chiefs win this, but I do think that Denver can cover 5 points. I don't think we're going to see the explosive Patrick Mahomes in this one. I mean, we'll see some flashes, but I think we're going to start to see some signs of humanity this week. We'll see. He hasn't shown them yet. Waiting on the props to come out, but one bet I would like in this game is they will probably have over/under 1/2 interception for Patrick Mahomes. I think he throws his first pick this week, and I do kind of like Denver to cover in this one. So those are the picks this week. Would love to at least get that overall record over 500 with some good picks this week. And then we can get our lock picks back to 500 if we can hit these two. Went 1-0 last week. So we're going to take Detroit on that money line at Dallas as one of our locks, plus 140. Just think they're a much better football team right now with more momentum. And then we talked about that Colts game. That's going to be my second lock of the week. The 1.5 points, it's pretty insignificant. I think the Colts can win this one by at least a field goal. And then we've got the money bag here. So we did have to put another $50 back in after a rough start. But like I said last week, good bounce back taking Seattle. So we're going to take those two locks, $10 a piece. And then we're going to parlay those two with Green Bay against Buffalo. They should be pretty safe this week. So that's it for the week 4 picks, guys. Reminder to gamble responsibly, but if you do want to play the games, I've got a referral link to Bovada in the description below where you can get a match on your first deposit as long as you follow that link. So good luck this week. Cheers as always, and we'll see you next time.